Nigeria Info, Sam Orkuchinedu here. And that story bothered by stories that you should. Because at the top is really Congress for one issue is a proposed 50% tariff increase cost of telecom service. The protest was earlier scheduled to be held today, rising from the meeting called by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. The NLC President Joe Jairo said Labour agreed to give the government 2 weeks to enable a 10-man joint committee made up of 5 representatives each from the federal government and the Nigeria Labour Congress to conclude and submit its deliberations. Mr. Jairo emphasized Labour's displeasure at the planned tariff hike as well as the negative impact of the massive tax policy of the government of Nigeria. I'm going to play those sounds shortly. But describing deliberations as fruitful, Minister of Information Mohammed Idris said Labour and government delegations agreed to allow a committee set up by the parties to review the study conducted by the NCC with a view to drafting an implementable resolution within 2 weeks. Earlier, the River State chairman of the NLC, Alex Ogonwo, said the protest is only targeted at the office of the NCC in the state. Okay. So if this did not happen, then today we will be talking to everyone involved about the outcome of the protest. But thanks to that meeting, that dialogue, they came to some conclusion in the interest of peace, as people would say. And now they have agreed that there will be deliberations for 2 weeks. And after that, we'll come to some resolution that works. Now, if you are disappointed that the protest did not hold, I don't think you should be. Because the end goal is resolution, not resistance. It's about finding a solution, not fighting the fight. So let's take for example, there is, somebody's owing you money. Yeah, this example works. Someone owes you money. And they said they will not pay. Or they've been avoiding you. So you get angry. Now, this is not the right way to approach this, but let's just hypothetically. You get angry, you gather boys and say, you know what? We're going to storm this guy's residence and we'll deal with him. The boys are ready, locked and loaded. Now, on the way to going there, you now receive credit alert. The person pays in full, or the person calls, gives you part of the payment and says, you know what, I'll complete it next week. Or for some reason, the person is finally reachable. And they tell you why they've been unavailable. They promise they're going to pay. They give you a payment plan. They give you a story that is convincing. At that point, there will be no need to storm his residence. Even though some members of that group will say, so what are we going to do with all this lost energy? But we will go show and small. That means that person was never in it for the solution. They were there for the means, not the end. So if dialogue can be the alternate resolution, then by all means, let us talk. Let's deliberate. Let's get on the famous round table. These conversations always happen on round tables. A table without an edge. A table where you can see everyone. You look to your left, you see Labour. You look right, you see federal government. You look up, you see maybe NCC or whoever the stakeholders are. And then at the end of that meeting, everybody agrees to whatever the proposal was. I understand the grievance. I know that you need to protest. But our hands are tied. This is the situation. Can you please give us 2 weeks? They will start with 1 month. They say, no, 1 month is too much. We can't take it. But the long story is that at the end, everybody agreed to what was proposed on that table. And so Labour has said, 2 weeks. We wait and see. Now, while this is a wonderful script, it is important to note that the reason why people are dissatisfied is because this script has played out too many times. Every single time there was a suspended protest. And sometimes the aftermath of a protest is that they will bring out that same round table. Sometimes it's bigger, other times it's small, but it's always round. And call everyone so that we can reach a logical conclusion. And many times it has not worked. So that's why Nigerians are not quick to accept that the agreement from that round table meeting means anything. If you doubt, ask the biggest victim of unfulfilled promises, ASU, the Academic Staff Union of Universities. They have been invited to too many meetings with too many round tables that at this point, they have lost track, they've lost sense of purpose, they've lost a calling. They don't even believe, even if members of ASU are called to village meeting, family meeting, they won't take it seriously because they have seen things in meetings. And you see, when you talk about the unfulfilled promises to ASU, you're not looking at the president, you're looking at the office. Because different presidents come and go. And every time there's a strike, ASU tells you, no, this memorandum of understanding, this agreement is so that you fulfill the promises of 2019. That there was a meeting that happened years ago where promises were made. And still the government, depending on whoever's the leader of the government at the time, have not fulfilled those promises. So another strike and another strike. ASU strikes are so mainstream that they are now a part of the educational curriculum. As a Nigerian who intends to attend a public university, whether state or federal, it would be a very big joke for you to say that you will finish your program at the stipulated time. If you have a 4-year course and you're making plans, say, I get into school 2025 and I'll be done in 2029. Somebody from somewhere will say, oh boy, add ASU strike. It's a part of the curriculum. It is so normal. There are people in this country whose parents experienced ASU strikes and they also experienced it. Why? Because when these resolutions are reached, when these meetings are called at these round tables, the agreement is almost always never honored. ASU has struck so many times that they even have a faction. A new union was created, Conwa, I think it's called. I hope I got that correctly. And even the Conwa had their own problems. So when you are Nigerian and you have a sense of history, you have an understanding of how things have worked or not worked, and then Labour tells you that they went for a meeting in that same room. You ask them, what's the shape of the table? They say it's round. They say, ha. With who? They say federal government. Too many familiar characters. Too many familiar things. What would make this one different? Now, I'm not saying that these meetings have not produced something. But I'm saying that Nigerians understand that many times it leans more in the direction of failure than success. So how can Nigerians even believe that the 2 weeks would bring about something? Well, first, you have to wait. Doesn't matter how you feel or what you want to say, you kind of have to wait for the 2 weeks. And if things don't play out, then maybe, just maybe, you can say, I told you. But for now, there is no protest. For now, the agreement is that we wait. And for now, I'm asking, do you think that this one time it will work? Or would it, like many before it, also fall like a house of cards? 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp is 080-903-06-416. I believe we're live on Facebook and Twitter at Nigeria InfoPH. You can watch, listen, and drop your comments on those platforms. Organized labor has suspended its nationwide strike. And it is after a meeting called by the SGF, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. The NLC president said Labour agreed to give the government 2 weeks to enable a 10-man joint committee made up of 5 reps, each from federal government and NLC, to conclude. Do you think this one time it is going to work? I said I was going to play that sound earlier. Yes, I have it now. Mr. Ajari emphasized Labour's displeasure at the planned tariff hike as well as negative impact of the massive tax policy of the government on Nigerians.
Will be put on hold until the outcome of such committee is what will determine our next line of action in terms of protest, in terms of boycott, in terms of even withdrawal of services, which are the 3 issues we put online. But I will equally use this opportunity of this meeting to put in our displeasure on the electricity tariff and the tax that is killing the workers now, the tax regime which is unbearable.
Well, it was important that the NLC chairman said that because people were asking yesterday, what about the electricity tariff? I'm glad he gave answer to those silent questions. Hello, good afternoon. Oh my, I lost that call. Call back if you can. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. What's your name?
My name is Lawson. I'm calling.
Oh my, I lost Lawson. My goodness. I seem to have another Lawson on the line from Yenogwa, or maybe it's the same one. Hello, Lawson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You are always skeptical when it comes to. But what were you expecting? That actually, some people are even calling it strike. Please correct them. It was supposed to be a protest, not a strike. Protest. And now, in this country, telling the truth, Sam, I was happy that it was aborted because every time they say protest or strike, there's always destruction. There are always people, miscreants, that will come out, take advantage, and destroy things. So I am happy that their life is all about negotiation. You sit down on the round table and you negotiate. That's why it's only when it fails that you cannot take those steps of strike and protest. So it's a good thing that they will negotiate just what it was doing yesterday.
Yeah.
And we were also making a case for the telecommunication sector where, you understand, the operations, government don't create that environment for them. They spend so much on diesel, this and that. And, you know, every other price of everything has also gone up. So let us see where they will. Let's see, some have said 5%. That will be, we don't know where it will end up. But I'm sure it will come down. I'm sure it will come down from what they have proposed here. It will definitely come down. Not that something will change.
All right.
But for that process, not that ended, that it was aborted.
All right, thank you very much, Lawson. I was hoping it was going to get clearer at some point. So, Konkwo from Rumokuta. Hello, Konkwo.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The right philosophy of life is to put the cat before the horse, not the horse before the cat.
No, it's the horse before the cat.
On this, I ask, why was it that this negotiation that is to be done now between Labour, government, and network service companies, why was it that when the network service people thought of increasing the service, why didn't they call for negotiation to sit with government and Labour and themselves to discuss before the increasing of their service price to 50%? They went into it and started to enforce it before Labour now made attempt for going for protest. Is it that we don't have a system where we can organize things and cause our system to be systematic? The whole thing is, I was thinking that by now that we would have gone to the president. But the other thing, they're supposed to discuss. After discussing, they will agree. Then they'll come and say, this is our service cost now. It's a conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Okonkwo. I'm a big fan of things getting better. But usually when there are these comparisons, I'm always wondering, what is so special about the others? What are they doing that we cannot get right? All right. So let's see. I think I still have something from that report. Earlier, the Rivers State chairman of the NLC, Alex Agwonwo, said the protest is only targeted at the office of the Nigeria Communication Commission, NCC, in the state.
Government of Rivers State or directed to any the public, the masses. Rather, is a national protest. And you can see we are not even going to the Rivers State government house to terminate the protest. We are going to the NCC head office in Rivers State here. That is where we will be processing to, and we will return back to our secretariat. So the protest is targeted at the NCC offices all over the country, not targeted at any government office anywhere. Apart from, but for us, we have been directed to go to the NCC office, register our protest, and return back to the secretariat.
All right. Okwando calls from Iriebe. Good afternoon, Okwando. Hello? Okwando, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
The Oracle.
Thanks for joining us.
You see, we are not worried. I personally am not worried that a discussion like this between NLC and the federal government will end up in a round table or even a square table. But the fact remains that over the years, there has been countless round tables. Even I don't even know how many round tables we have now in Nigeria. It has been too many. But by the end of the day, the issues are not being resolved. It will now turn to business as usual. So for NLC to come and tell us that they have called off their planned protest, I think it is one of those things that we usually see from them. At the end of the day, market that the increment, the 50% increment, tariff increment, will also go on, and Nigerians will have no option than to abide by, making calls with a 50% tariff increase, which is not what we are expecting from a union like they call themselves a labor union. If you go to countries like Russia and Ukraine, and you see the contribution of labor unions in building the economy and the nation, you will agree with me that what we have there is not a labor union, but a union that only comes to four. Thank you, my friend. God bless you.
All right, thank you very much. Victor calls from Rumokrushi. Good afternoon, Victor. Hello, Victor, are you there?
I'm hearing you.
Please go ahead.
Okay. The whole thing is like this. If you ask my opinion, just like what you are explaining, I will tell you that we Nigerians, we are a conquered people.
Conquered?
Thank you.
No, I'm asking.
Now, if you are a leader, people are protesting on a particular thing that you should call them and say, okay, how did you want us to do it? You will rather say, if we like, we should go and protest and do whatever we like. Did we protest? Yes. Taking action. Yes. It's very clear that we are conquered people. I have 1,001 reason to tell you that we are conquered people.
Okay. So Victor is angry. He says we're conquered. I want to take Clinton West on WhatsApp. Says, good day, Mr. Sam. I'm not surprised about NLC's suspension of the one-day protest. Nigerians should not hope on Nigeria Labour Congress because they have nothing to offer. Nigerians, NPC put on hold does not hold water. Mawanete says, but really, would you rather have the protest if there is a resolution that works? And yes, I know that because these things have happened too many times, you now sound like a broken record. It's difficult to believe in the process. But I said earlier, it's about resolution, not resistance. If you saw a game plan, if the federal government showed a blueprint, a strategy through which they are going to solve this problem, would there still be need for a protest? While the veracity of it might be questionable, while it's okay to say, no, I don't believe them, but at least they've shown something. If you're trying to protest and the government says, let's talk, come on, let's have a conversation, would you refuse to honor that invitation? Because if you do, it would seem like you're more interested in the agitation than the solution. So while I understand why you are blaming Labour, and I think they have their fair share of blame, but what are we more concerned about? The resolution or the resistance? Chris calls from Rumeme. Good afternoon, Chris.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, well, like the last man said, we are conquered people.
Oh my goodness.
I 101% concord with him. You see, I keep telling people that the river that is flowing from Lagos, that flowed during 1999 governorship election, that joined with the one that flew from Port Harcourt, River State, that flowed in the last 8 years before this young man took over. The two rivers met. That is Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Wike have met. They have conquered Nigeria. See, let me be very honest. I wish Nigeria great, and I wish Nigeria good. But if we allow non-democratic things to continue to happen, I tell you, come 2027, we are going to have an election where one party will win the whole area. If you like, shed blood, protect your vote with all your blood and all the water in your system. It's not going to yield anything. I tell you, these two gentlemen with their cohorts have conquered this nation. The nation is in their palm. Democracy is gradually eroding from Nigeria's system. Our vote will no longer count. In as that these two men continue to be there. You know what is happening to opposition group and to Labour. I'm so disappointed because the young man who happens to be the president of Labour, when he was in TUC electricity arm, he was so pragmatic. He was so stubborn. What I mean stubborn, the type of stubbornness we want for people who are leaders in NLC. But it's unfortunate. Probably he has been shown a lot of things. And shown a lot of things that if you keep talking, if you keep fighting for the people, EFCC will take over you. And that has become the norm in the country. That is why I'm also surprised that this protest was not going to hold. You are asking that if one is protesting and government says, let's come and negotiate, how many things do we need to negotiate? We're negotiating with the public people. We're negotiating with government. Does MTN belong to government? No. Does Airtel belong to government? No. Does all these other multimedia, whatever we're talking about, belong to government? They're not acts of government. They don't belong to government. Some of them are international, whatever, that come to do business here. Our government has nothing to offer us. They have failed us and failed us woefully. Nothing is working. I just walked out from 9 Mobile office. They asked somebody, how are you? The person said, we are surviving. This is the language of a typical Nigerian. We are surviving. What have they done to us? They have given us fuel at a cost of 1,000 per liter. They have given us electricity at 4 units for 1,000. What have they not done to us? Everything's so expensive. Dollar is not coming down. Dollar keeps going up and up and up. Hey, who has done all this evil, Nigeria? Oh, my great Nigeria. The Nigeria of our great land, our great dream. The
all
Nigeria
right.
funded by Nnamdi Azikiwe.
Thank you, Chris.
The Nigeria funded by Awolowo.
Okay, Chris. There are people waiting. And I get your frustration, right? I understand. Being Nigerian, there's a part of you that should be angry. But I'm particular about how we express these feelings. Very particular. Because if you take on a defeatist position, it's going to be very difficult or close to impossible to hope for a change. Right? So I'm not telling you how to feel. I'm telling you that the minute that you have accepted the idea that you are conquered, the next thing that comes will be that you would believe there is nothing to fight for. Because being conquered means, well, you're defeated. Secondly, while this platform exists, and I say this as many times as I need to, for you to call in and contribute, it is important that you deploy civility in making these contributions. So thank you, Chris. Chima from NT Road. Hello, Chima.
Good afternoon, Mr. Tan.
Good afternoon. Please turn off your radio.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mr. Sam, we are not conquered people. People who have accepted that they are conquered. How many times we those who said we are conquered came out for protest? How many times? Even the fact that this protest go, according to Labour, if the protest go, will any of them come out? How many times? You can't stay in one place and say we are conquered. Conquered on what? We are not conquered. The problem remains that Nigeria, we are a country that do nothing, accepting whatever the leaders throw at us. So what are you telling me that we are not conquered? Which action have any person taken? And why should we put our hope on Labour? Is it only Labour that are affected with the high communication tariff? It's only Labour? It's not only Labour. We are also affected. So why are we pushing it to Labour? How many Nigerians come out to speak and say, okay, we are going to do this because of this hike in the communication? How many? You just accept that you are conquered and you are complaining. I hate complaints. I like actions. You understand? If what is happening in this country happen in other countries, you understand? There will not be peace. I tell you, not that I'm calling for war, but what I'm saying, there will be a protest. It happened in Ghana. When Ghana does not have electricity for a particular number of time, they hit the street. You see celebrities, they came out on the street. They protested. But how many celebrities in Nigeria will come out to protest? How many? Even the one who have accepted that conquered, would they come out to protest? So I hate complaints. Let us take action, not to complain. Nobody owns this country. The constitution made it clear that sovereignty belongs to you and I. That the people who are manning position are given the power through the constitution. So rightly, we are the owner of the government. So we determine what happens to the government.
Okay.
How many of Nigerians can know this? They don't know.
Thank you, Chima.
For protest last time in August. What happened?
Thank you very much. That Kuku calls from a chair. All right, I've lost that call. Call back if you can. A few messages on WhatsApp and I believe Facebook. And my goodness, I'm supposed to have another headline. Good day, Mr. Simon. Not surprised about NLC suspension. Nigerians should not hope on Labour because they have nothing to offer Nigerians. I think I've taken this. Even protests rarely yield positive results, making me feel Labour truly represents citizens' interest. Labour has failed to prevent high electricity tariffs, inflation, petrol price hikes, and all resolve ASU strikes. Now, the telecom price hike is another bash. Telecom companies have already exploited Nigerians with fraudulent transactions, poor network, and exorbitant charges. It's painful to be charged extra for services we're not using. Can't we get a break from these endless price hikes? Murdoch is asking. Now, the important part of this, because somebody said earlier, and this comment just reminded me, the telcos are not by government, they are private companies. Yes, but we have a regulator, the NCC, right? While the private sector is allowed to play around a field, there is a government regulator. And which is why Labour has decided to go about this protest the right way. They say they are marching to the NCC office because that is the body responsible for putting out these regulations. And if you say there should be a tariff hike, which I kind of think there should be, owing to the economic realities, what margin? And questions must be answered. For the money that is already paid, what is the quality of service? And the government will also answer, what is the bare minimum that as a business in Nigeria I should get? Are you providing electricity? Are you providing security? So everyone will have a fair share of blame. But the point is, Nigerians do not want to, and I honestly think should not, have to deal with a 50% hike. It just doesn't make sense at this time. Well, very quickly, before I take maybe one more call, today is World Cancer Day. And our First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu has urged Nigerians to prioritize their health and support one another in the fight against cancer, emphasizing the need for awareness, early detection, and equitable access to treatment. The president's wife made the call in a message commemorating 2025 World Cancer Day on Tuesday, where she highlighted the devastating impact of cancer on individuals and families across Nigeria and beyond. World Cancer Day is observed annually on February 4 to raise awareness about cancer prevention, detection, and treatment, with a global push towards reducing the impact of the disease. Her message read, "As we observe World Cancer Day today, we're reminded of the burden cancer places on millions of individuals and families in Nigeria around the globe." According to her, this year's theme, United by Unique, underscores the importance of personalized cancer treatment, ensuring that care is tailored to meet the specific needs of each patient. I've learned about proactive health thanks to my engagement with professionals, and in some cases, thanks to exposure to the kind of work. It is important that we have routine screening for, cancer and other things. A dentist told me that we need to get our teeth checked twice a year. And thanks to the fact that, my office, we have some of these checks from time to time, it kind of keeps us in check. But not everyone might have access to these services. So on your own, please get screened. Go and get checked, because a lot of things can be prevented through early detection. 08179230002. One more call, and I believe we'll wrap up. Hello, good evening. Good evening. What's your name?
How are you?
I'm well.
Yeah, Walter is calling from Roboku.
Go ahead.
Yes, Oracle. This 50% of we are talking, and NLC. I've stayed, and even yesterday I've heard that the NLC they are still existing. They are the problem. One of the problems we have in this Nigeria. I was thinking that they are not existing. This tariff of 50 or so, I was thinking that NSC is supposed to tell Nigerians that CO. Why are they coming up? Even if it's a private company, coming up to add something to our loads. What they're supposed to do is to consult the president and tell him, see, we don't need this. Are we supposed to discuss with the private company that want to exploit Nigerians? We're supposed to do that. What we have done is to meet the presidency. We don't know this. We don't need it, and we don't need it. Why are we coming to air to talk every day, discussing what? To me, we don't have NLC in Nigeria. Nothing like NLC. Nothing like NLC. They will be disappointed about we. But what are they there for?
Okay, so Walter, to make it clear, the NLC did not engage with the private companies. Yes, they are stakeholders in this matter. The engagement was with the government. The meeting was with the SGF and NCC, that happens to be the regulator of that sector. So again, like I say, while it's important that we can air these grievances and have these conversations, we must get our facts right. We must deploy and activate understanding. But most importantly, civility has to be a part of the mix in expressing those views. Thank you very much. The next voice you will hear will be someone with a message. Please stay with us.